Hi everybody, my name is Danielle Nicole and welcome to Monetary Makeup. So Pat McGrath has been slowly but surely trickling in and dropping some of her new holiday 2022 releases, and today we are testing out the new Bronze Bliss Quad. Now I recently reviewed her new Celestial Nirvana Holiday Large Mothership Palette, and I am so excited to test out this quad because just like Celestial Nirvana, there is supposed to be some new formulas in this palette. So we'll definitely be talking about the new formula as well as the color story, and also be doing a demo and swatches. Now I took a quick peek at Bronze Bliss. I was so excited I just couldn't help myself. And oh my gosh, you guys, this palette looks absolutely stunning. So if you're excited to see Bronze Bliss in action and enjoy the video while you're watching, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, and let's get started right now. Now I have been sick the past couple of days, so I apologize if my voice sounds a little bit nasally or a little bit off, so I apologize, but just wanted to mention it. Now if you've been watching the Pat McGrath Holiday drops, you probably noticed that she did not release this entire collection at once. They've just been kind of slowly trickling in. So I do have a full blush palette as well as the individual blush that I will be reviewing for you guys once it comes in. And I thought about waiting to review this palette once the entire rest of the collection comes in, but I did want to get this review up as soon as possible for you guys, just in case you were thinking about purchasing Bronze Bliss. Now there were actually two different Quints that she released this year for the holiday collection. I did decide to only pick up Bronze Bliss. Now the other color story did look beautiful, however it was more of those rosy mauves, and I feel like I have enough of those shades, so that's why I only picked up this one. So let's first go over a couple of quick details about this new eyeshadow palette. Now the palette itself, as far as the packaging goes, does look identical to the artwork. Now this is cardboard just like Celestial Nirvana was, as well as a magnetized closure. So once you open the palette up, it does have a mirror on the opposite side of the product. I have not yet removed the film yet, but you guys, the shades that are in this Quint, they are absolutely stunning. So here are what these shades look like up close. I'm hoping my camera is going to pick up the beautiful shimmers that are in this palette. This just seriously glistens in real life. This is a beautiful color story and also a beautiful palette. Now this palette consists of 4 different shimmers. As I mentioned, I believe she has some new formulas within this palette, and the only matte shade is this deeper shade right here. I just cannot get over how beautiful these shades look in the pan. I am so excited to swatch them out. Alright, it is swatch time. First up, Nude Moon. Wow, look at the shine on these. I am going to build these shades up, that way they are a little bit easier to see on camera. Next up, La Vie en Noir, the Matte Black. Now I did not grab a ton of product, so let me add a bit more to the matte. There we go. Now this actually looks like a deep charcoal gray now that I'm looking at it swatched out. Alright, next up is the shade Lunar Luxury. This is the shade I am most excited for. Look how beautiful that is on the finger. So let's see what that looks like swatched out. Oh my goodness. Wow. You guys, that was one swatch only. Look at how reflective that is. Next shade, Bronze Mink. Let me build this up just a bit. This is a beautiful grungy bronze. And the final shade, Bronze Illusion. Wow, these have so much shine to them, and they felt incredibly smooth in the pan. You guys, look at the shine on these shimmers. This looks like it's going to be a beautiful formula. Now, I will tell you right now that I absolutely love Celestial Nirvana. I love the variety of all the different shades of color, as well as neutrals, warms, and cools. But this palette right here, this formula feels incredibly different. Now, not to say that the shades in Celestial Nirvana did not perform well, they absolutely did, but these feel like silk upon the swatches. Now you do get 4 grams or 0.14 ounces of product in these palettes. I will put the price up on the screen. I believe it was $39 US. Alright, well I'm going to create 2 different looks for you guys today, so let's jump right in to the demo. All right, my eyes are primed and ready to go. I went in with the Too Faced Shadow Insurance. I do find that is one of my favorite eyeshadow primers to use with Pat McGrath shadows. Now, I unfortunately learned that the hard way. When I went in with the Celestial Nirvana palette, it did stain my eyes a bit. No big deal, I just have to make sure I use eyeshadow primer first. All right, first shade, La Vie Noire. I love the name of that shadow, it is beautiful. That is, of course, the Matte Deep Charcoal. Going in with a Wayne Goss number 6. Now these deeper shades can definitely get away from you quick, so I am going to work in small sections. All right, well this is going on very smooth, just as I anticipated, because those swatches, it felt like absolute butter. So despite this being a very deep shade, it is not giving me any problems. Wow, this is very smooth, you guys. So smooth. I am so excited with the tone of the shade. You know, I feel like we have so many blacks in our collection, but this is almost like a deeper charcoal, so I really love the undertone of this shade. I'm just blown away with how smooth this is. Then just connecting the inner and outer portion a bit. Okay, so now that I have the shape laid out, next I'm going to build this up, so I will see you in just a second here. This Wayne Goss number 6 brush is such a great brush for a halo eye because it's almost a bit flat, so you can use it to lay down the pigment and then use the tip of the bristles to blend out. I'm just using a clean brush to blend out any harsh edges. Not that I really have any. You guys, this matte formula, it is completely blowing my mind. It is so smooth and buttery. And can you guys see? I don't have one drop of fallout. I'm kind of blown away right now. All right, she is smoky, that's for sure. I love the undertone. I know I mentioned that before, but I love that she gave us something different other than a traditional black. All right, I have to go in with the shade I am most excited for, which is called Lunar Luxury. All right, just look at this swatched out on the finger. It looks like metallic gold. All right, you guys ready for this shade? I sure am. Wow. And I hardly picked up any pigment. It really went in with a pretty light hand. Look at the shine on that. Gorgeous. All right, I'm sure you can tell how beautiful Lunar Luxury is even through the camera. It reflects so much light. It is a beautiful shade, but you do get a little bit of fallout, so just keep that in mind. All right, I feel like we have to go back in with the beautiful deep charcoal for the lower lash line. Now, I think I forgot to mention that these palettes are also made in London. I just love the undertone of this. It's a beautiful deep charcoal, but I just am blown away that I'm not having any issues blending it out. You know, blacks can be a really difficult shade to use, and let me tell you, if I can do it, you definitely can. All right, loving that so far. So what should we put on the inner half of the lower lash line? Let's try going in with Nude Mood. All right, so I actually do not like Nude Mood in that area. Something about it just looks a little bit off. So let's test out that beautiful bronze shade called Bronze Mink. I'm actually going to take whatever is left on the brush that had the noir shade just to kind of erase what I just did. All right, so let's see if the bronze shade will look a bit better down here. Oh yeah. All right, so the shimmer shades definitely have fallout. I certainly have little flecks of glitter all over, so I will have to clean that up a bit. But yeah, I really like the decision to go in with the bronze shade. I think it looks much better. All right, so I do not have mascara on yet. I'm going to add that once we are finished with both of the looks. What do you guys think about this halo eye? I am loving this formula. All right, let's get started with look number 2. So the one thing about this palette that I mentioned earlier, there is only one matte shade right here. Now, a lot of people may feel the need to grab another transition shade from a different palette, which you can certainly do that. But I do find usually with pat shimmers, you can actually use them as if they were a matte. So I think I'm going to apply the shade Bronze Mink just all over the lids and use that as both the shimmer and the matte. So dipping into Bronze Mink, I keep wanting to call it Bronze Milk. I don't know why. Now I'm equally excited for this shade as well. It's kind of like a grungy greenish gold. So I bet this is going to be beautiful as well. Oh yeah. My kind of grungy shade. I'm sorry you guys, my voice sounds so nasally. I apologize. Now I'm actually not getting any fallout with this shade. Nothing like the silver. That one was definite fallout, but you could always go in and use a glitter glue first. But for today, I'm just going right in. Just taking a brush here to build up the outer corner. Since we're not using a matte, I am going to bring this up a bit higher. Yeah, I mean, who needs a transition shade anyway? I feel like that looks nice, just kind of blown out. All right, dipping back into the Black Noir shade, I'm going to use this to line the lower lash line. And I am going to keep a space right in the middle. Sorry, you guys, I'm left-handed, so it's a little bit difficult for me to hold this part on camera. So I'm also kind of blown away just by how quickly these shades are blending out, especially the deep charcoal. I just cannot get over how smooth that shade is. Next, let's dip into Bronze Illusion and pop that right in the center of the lower lash line. This is a pretty shade. It's almost like a copper. And next, let's grab that copper shade again, just a little bit, and pop that right on the center of the lid, just to create a little bit of dimension. We'll also match the lower lash line. Oh yeah, these two shades pair beautifully together. Even though they're almost different undertones, they look beautiful. Yeah, that just took this look up a notch for sure. All right, and then I have to go back in and grab Lunar Luxury for the inner corner. All right, I was not going to add that to the bottom portion right here, but I did get quite a bit of fallout, so we're just going with it. All right, let's pop a teensy bit of Nude Mood for the brow bone. All right, let me add a little bit of mascara and I'll be right back. All right, so I just finished applying mascara. Now you guys, I know these looks definitely should have falsies on, but your girl's sick, so mascara is the best I'm going to be able to do. So let me know down below. Do you like look number 1, the halo eye, or look number 2 better? You zoom in up close a bit here. Aren't these shimmers just gorgeous? I think they turned out really nice. So let's get into my final thoughts. Now listen, I had a ton of fun playing around with Celestial Nirvana. I still stand behind this palette. I think it is a beautiful color story, but let me tell you, the formula that is in this Quint, there is nothing comparable. I would actually say this formula might actually be better than the traditional motherships. Now, I know there was only one matte in this palette, but that matte, especially with it being a very deep charcoal, almost a black shade, that blended out so easy. Usually I struggle just a little bit, especially around the edges. I didn't really have to do any buffing around the edges. That black matte is beautiful. Now yes, some of these shimmer shades did have some fallout, but that is to be expected because when you actually touch and go to swatch these, they feel very soft. So that actually leads me to another point. I would not recommend traveling with this palette unless you wrap this sucker extra good, because these shimmer shades are incredibly soft to the touch. But going back to the actual formula of the shimmers and how they apply and look on the lids, you guys can see now they are all beautiful. I loved every single shade in this palette, but I do have to give it up to the shade Lunar Luxury. That was the silver shade right here. That one, impeccable, near perfection. So if you haven't picked up any of the eyeshadow palettes yet from the holiday collection, Hands down, would absolutely recommend Bronze Bliss as my number one. So I completely stand behind the formula in Bronze Bliss. It's absolutely stunning. Now you definitely have to love cool shades to really appreciate this palette. Now there is another one, as I mentioned, that leans more on the warm mauve side, but that brings me to another point. So Alicia Archer is another YouTuber here. If you haven't heard of her, I will link her channel down below. But she is a Pat McGrath fanatic. She has every single palette just about. She definitely is extremely knowledgeable. So she picked up both of these palettes and did review each of them. But I did notice, at least from the swatches and from the application that she did, there did seem to be a little bit or quite a bit of a difference between these two palettes. So what I mean by that is just from watching the demo and the swatches of each of the palettes, the other palette, it just didn't seem to be as shiny. The formula didn't appear to be exactly the same. So if you had to pick one, I would definitely recommend this one. And don't forget, I am going to be having some other items from the rest of the holiday collection. They are on their way, so definitely stay tuned. Well, I do hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye, guys.